Hello. This is my first time trying a live stream. I'm not even sure if I'm doing it right. I don't know if I'm able to see what's going on or anything. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm learning as I go. So please be gentle with me. I am not certain what is happening right now, but it's scheduled and hopefully running. Uh, I'm not sure how to see people, and it may be because no one is on here. So, but thank you if you did. This would be great. I'm going to be talking about Riley Strain. I'm going to talk about, of course, again, I'm all over the place. I'm going to be talking about Riley. I'm going to be talking about Sebastian, poor Summer Wells' 3-year anniversary. And then there's been a lot of teens gone missing. So, what is going on in Tennessee? Now, I know that somebody had commented, uh, oh, oh, there's actually people on here. I'm very excited. So somebody said Riley's not missing. Yes, I know, but his autopsy with the toxicology was just released yesterday. So it's insane. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. Now it's sad. Every one of these cases is sad, but I have to tell you the Riley strain. I'm going to be looking away because I'm going to look down at my pewter and tell you what's going on. So Nick Barris, some people are knocking him. He's been doing news here in Nashville for decades. I mean, he's well respected. He's not going to throw out bullshit. Pardon, I got language. So here's what he says yesterday. He says the autopsy and toxicology reports released on Riley Strain. Toxicology shows Strain's blood alcohol level at nearly triple the legal limit. That explains his stumbling around, his behavior. He died by accidental drowning and ethanol intoxication. Strain, 22, was a University of Missouri senior who disappeared right after the night out of his friends downtown Nashville on March 8th. He went missing after he was asked to leave a bar on Lower Broadway. That's Luke Bryant's. His body was pulled from the Cumberland River 2 weeks ago. The report shows Strain's blood alcohol level at 0.228. He also had traces of Delta 9 in his system. I'm not worried about that. Delta 9 is a legal form of THC that's available here. He had caffeine, he had nicotine. The autopsy conclusion, Strain's death was accidental. Some people think he fell in the river. Some people, there's no evidence of foul play. There's no evidence of any other drugs in his system. There's no signs of trauma. Because I know some people were throwing around the been drugged. And that is an idea that I had thought of too. Because I've been roofied a couple times. And if you look at somebody that's roofied, they act just like they're drunk, but they're not. So they may be stumbling, they may be slurring, they may be a little, but where he was going, I don't know if he just intentionally wandered off or he didn't know which direction he was going. He was going the opposite direction of his hotel. And I've walked this a couple of times where he fell. Now, where the card was, his bank card, a lot of people think that's where he fell from. I don't necessarily agree. I think he either accidentally fell or I visited a friend of mine in Arkansas last month. And Arkansas, Missouri, very close in rivers and, what their fields and all that's like. I'm sorry, I'm not speaking English today. But I noticed that what they call rivers, we would call creeks. I mean, some of them are very shallow, not raging. And part of me wonders if he's in his drunken state, if he didn't think, oh, I'm going to go out here into the thing, which would be why you didn't find his pants or his boots. And it would be so easy to slide. And I've walked through there and I've found several openings where it's just dirt and you can slide straight down and it hit the water, not hitting rocks or anything. And it would be easy if you're that drunk to just look over, blah, 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 fall in. with very little bumps or bruises on you. So if he intentionally went in, he may have thought, oh, it's a river. It's like our rivers, but it's not. Our rivers, very deep, very strong currents, which also, even if he's got the belt on, I wouldn't doubt that these currents, especially with it being found 8 miles down the road, I wouldn't doubt at all that his pants and his boots came off. But definitely, 0.228%. And that is crazy high. I've been a little intoxicated myself before, and but not that intoxicated. That's crazy levels. So what had happened is these people that come to town and they make it not a marathon but a sprint. They want to drink as much as they can, as fast as they can. Is just almost a challenge. It's every weekend. It is every weekend in Nashville. So they probably been to God knows how many bars earlier in the day. Keep in mind, this was what, 8:30, 9 o'clock when he got kicked out of Luke Bryan's. I think it was 7:45, I believe it was. Anyway, it was late. So he'd been, but not too late. He'd been to so many probably bars and restaurants. Probably didn't eat hardly anything because the boys especially never do. So it doesn't doubt. I don't doubt it at all. There are, and you're right, there are some drugs, crafted in true crime. There are some that won't show up. So it's possible. But with a blood alcohol like that, I mean, it wouldn't, he was already pretty well gone. And being drugged, I wouldn't doubt at all. But Rufalin or anything like that showed up on the toxicology. So, man, it's sad. And it's so crazy that things like this are happening. And like I said, this is a weekendly occurrence in Nashville. So also, Nick Bear says, here's the official statement from Metro PD on the high-profile Riley Strain case. There is to be no criminal investigation. PD's statement, the Riley Strain autopsy released today by the medical examiner, which found that the 22-year-old died as a result of accidental drowning and ethanol alcohol intoxication. It corroborates the findings. I've never been able to say corroborate in my life, and I can say it now, but I can't say water. Findings of the investigation conducted by Metro Missing Persons detectives. The police department is now officially classifying Strain's death as accidental, which I said from the beginning it probably was. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of homeless over in that area, but they're very non-confrontational. I've never seen any of them ask me for anything. If anything, they'll just chit chat. I mean, they're friendly. Of course, they're homeless. They're, tough times, but I've never seen any down there that are aggressive. Maybe in other parts, but none that I've ever seen. And I'm downtown every weekend doing a pub crawl. So if you're in town, Hick Chick Tours. Ridiculous plug right there. So the investigation found that Strain consumed multiple alcoholic drinks at different establishments after arriving in Nashville with his friends on March 8th. The investigation found that he had become separated from his friends and was noticeably impaired. If you've seen the videos, very noticeably impaired. Where did I lose my spot? As he walks onto Gay Street, which is adjacent to the Cumberland River, on the night of March 8th. Detectives have concluded that Strain, who was unfamiliar with Gay Street and the steep embankments, there's a lot of slip and slides, leading to the river, did not realize the terrain conditions in the darkness as he stepped toward the overgrown area, because it is. Like, you won't even notice these slip-offs till it's too late. And you'll see a lot of clothes there too. So I don't know if people just, here, I don't like this shirt, let me get another one. So boom, and then fell down in the water. I've said that from the beginning, that's what happened. Because I see them drunk all the time. Curiosity gets the best of you, because a lot of people don't really walk over that way unless they're going to the parking garage. I mean, you can get to Germantown that way, but I mean, it wouldn't be the way I would take. but you're going to be right by that embankment. Oh, let me take a blah, blah, blah. And that's what I've said happened from the get-go. Due to recent rain, the river is very high at the night with swift current. Strain's body was found in the river in West Nashville on the morning of March 22nd, several miles from Gay Street. I know there'll be a few insist that there's more to the story, that there are unanswered questions, that there's a cover-up, that there was foul play. Anyone can sit back from a distance and speculate. That's fine. This is Nick Barris. But I've been on the case from the beginning, following the investigations. Examine the others close to the case. I'm convinced, barring any new information or evidence to the contrary, this is simply a tragic accident. Case closed. Thoughts and prayers to the family. And man, that does hurt my heart terribly for the family, because you want to have answers. You don't want to think that it's just a horrible, horrible mistake. And not that you want your kid to be murdered, but you want there to be some answer, some reason. Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh, I just love that there's more than 2 people on here listening to me. Thank you guys. Yay. So it's heartbreaking. It's hopefully we'll give the family some closure. I mean, nobody wants to have their child die, whether it be accident or whether it be something more malicious. But at least they can hopefully put it to rest. And like I said, I've been over in that area several times. It would be so easy for someone to slip and slide down that. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, this won't be a very long live stream because I'm just playing around, so I haven't done a lot of preparation. I know that they just had the 3-year anniversary of Summer Wells, which, man, I tell you what, I do not know how that guy has gotten away. Don and Candace. How have they not been arrested for neglect at the very least? I mean, they've all had kids taken away from previous relationships. Don tried to sell his son, from a previous relationship. Summer's gone. They've had enough evidence of neglect to remove the other 3 boys. I mean, maybe I just don't know how it works. But I'm thinking if you are as crazy on drugs as these 2 clearly are and admittedly are, that's, I don't get it. And evidently that's just like a little den of meth and whatever in that little holler. I don't get it, but it's just so sad that it's come to this, that here's another unsolved, when you know damn well 2 people, if they didn't have anything to do with their missing, they know what did happen. Come on now. I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. All right. It's just heartbreaking. And then there's been a couple of other teens that have gone missing in this area, in the Hendersonville area. Luckily, thank goodness, one of them was found safe and sound. I don't know about the other one. If the other one, there was one that went missing from Bonnaroo. And I'll have to look up some more information on that one and do another one on it. But it's just like, what is happening here in Tennessee? It just seems like kids, whether they're walking off on their own, whether, something more nefarious has happened. But I tell you, the Sebastian Rogers case has been just on me. I'm like a dog with a bone. I can't let it go. I've driven around that area several times. I went searching myself. And I don't know if you watched any of my other videos, so I apologize if I'm being redundant. But let's play devil's advocate. Let's just put a theory out there. Okay? None of this is anything but my opinion, not fact. Opinion, we have to say that. But, okay, we know that Chris had a problem with Sebastian. So much so that he spoke to Seth, wanting Seth to take over custody. And Katie may or may not have been privy to that. Regardless, we know he wanted Sebastian gone because he was wanting to get custody of Faith. Faith, from what I understand, is there for the summer. Is he going to get full custody? Oh, no, no, that boy ain't going to have it. When you've had that many CPS cases against you, no. I mean, I grew up with great grandparents, Depression era, a lot of kinds of discipline that would be frowned upon today. And yeah, how many times were Child Protective Services called? We call it Department of Children's Services. Some call it CPS. We'll call it CPS to make it easier. 0 calls. That's how many we had in my house. I raised a kid. She's 30 now. I know, I've got a baby face. And how many CPS calls have I had? 0. So if you've got one, let alone multiple, there's a problem. So we're setting up some of his characteristics right there. And I'm talking about Chris Proudfoot. If you take even 50% of what Nina, his ex-wife, said as truth, that don't look good on him. That don't look good on him. If you take what neighbors have said about him, even if 50% of them are true, it's not a good look. The consensus is he's a dick. I think we can all agree on that. And sorry if you're language people, but email. Oh, sorry, I haven't checked my email, so I've been out of town for a week. So I'll check my email for you. Thank you for emailing me. But you're not going to get full custody of Faith. It's just not going to happen. It's just not. And you clearly have anger issues when neighbors can hear exactly what you're saying when you're yelling in your yard, or even maybe even in their house. So, I mean, you've called the boy the R word. Yeah, come get your. Oh my God. I tell you what, I would have left that guy real quick if anyone spoke to my child or about my child that way. Yeah, no. We already know how he disciplines, and he's admitted how he disciplines. Smacking Nina's daughter in the mouth, busting her lips because she had braces, telling a 3-year-old, spanking a 3-year-old, saying he needs to become a man. He's 3. Again, this is all coming from Nina. So, yes, thank you. I'll get on that. Yeah, not a good dude. And she doesn't seem like she was around much during Sebastian's upbringing, because pretty soon after she gave birth, she joined the Navy and was gone. It seems like Seth was Mr. Mom. So it seems like maybe being a mom wasn't on her list of things she was very interested in doing. Oh no! Did it go off again? Hold on. The thing doesn't really want to cooperate. There we go. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Ooh, face. Boop. Oh, man, I swear. See, I'm not good at this. But maybe I'll look better blurred. There we go. I might look better blurred. We'll see. But, oh, my God. So not a good guy. She doesn't seem like she wanted to be a parent. But, they gave it the old go to it. Child services called multiple times. California at least once here for the spanking, once because he was missing. That's at least 3 calls for Child Protective Services just for Sebastian, not even knowing about what happened with Faith. Probably even more than 3. But so I'm saying that there's a lot of motive to want to get rid of a kid. You know his backstory. You're afraid he'll repeat history with your daughter. Maybe something's happened we don't know about. You don't want your child around her child. So there's your motive. She may not have really been crazy about being a parent, flipped out, was frustrated because he had a big last day and maybe was very overstimulated, and he wanted to didn't want to go to bed because it seemed like he had to take medications, which we found out from Seth, to go to sleep. Oh my God, bing, 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 bullets are going off in my head there. So maybe after that big night, he's not wanting to go to bed. You're even admitting, saying, I don't know what you're doing there, but you better go to bed. Okay, maybe Seth might be onto something with over medicating him. Like, okay, he's not going to go to sleep. I'm going to give him twice what he needs because this is driving me crazy. He won't go to bed. Or she goes in there, freaks out. Maybe something happens. He falls. He hits his head on the bed or a nightstand. We already know he's got the issue with his head. And then either that or the other, either the overdosing or something happened and he's now not waking up or he's making weird noises. That would be a normal person would call 911 immediately. They did not. Again, this is all speculation. I'm playing devil's advocate here. Yeah, using a power washer, even if it wasn't a power washer, even if it was just a hose, you weren't doing it for fun. You weren't like when you do the hose on a kid in the summertime. That is not sounding what it's like you did. You did it to be super freaking mean. And I'll tell you, yeah, yep. I'll tell you, I wouldn't want to be hit with a power washer. And even if it was a hose on high, I wouldn't want to be hit that way. So he sounds like he was just not the fatherly type all the way around with any stepkid he's had. I don't even want to know how he is with Faith. It just kills me. But I'm hoping that maybe while she's here for summer, she'll pick up on conversations because she's what, like 7 or 8 right now, I think. Maybe she'll go home, tell Nina some things, and that will speed up the story here. All right, so back to just my hypothesis. So she's freaking out. Oh my God, he's unconscious. I can't get him to wake up. Blah, blah, blah. All right, I'm going to have the phone over here. So that way we've both got an alibi because we're both on the phone with each other. And I'm going to book it down there. You put the charger on your phone. I'll put mine on mine. So that way it looks like we've been on the phone call this entire time. And I'm going to book it there and I'll take care of things. Because doesn't he seem like the take charge kind of, I've got to control the situation in the narrative type? I think we've seen that with every interview that he has had. So he books it about 3 hours. Oh, it was only 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's close enough, 3 hours. He's booking it, which is about the amount of time it takes to get from Memphis to here. Just saying, especially in the middle of the night when there's not traffic. He gets there. There was a thud at 10. Oh, there was a thud at 11:30. When was the thud? The thing is, you keep saying thud. So subconsciously, it's kind of like the old telltale heart. You hear this thud because you heard the thud because you made the thud happen, theoretically. So she's freaking out. And I know that they've debunked the trash truck, and I have seen the footage where they expand it and they show the trash truck. And I've been trying to find it to put it on. Ever since I've seen it, I've not been able to find it again, but I saw it. So the clip that Nick Barish had was just a partial. And when Seth says, "Oh, that was only 3/5 of the screen," you do it bigger and you do see. But that being said, the dogs being tracked to the construction site. If you've been over in the area, as I have, where their house is, Stafford comes around. Kellyan, and then there's the construction. So you would have to run through someone else's backyard from your backyard and then through someone else's yard to get to that construction site. If you do it in the middle of night, if you know where the cameras are, if there's no camera, which I was really surprised. When I drove in that area, if they had rings, they were not noticeable. There were very few houses I saw that even had any kind of door cam that I could see. Because, usually they're right there by the doorknob. And I even said to my friend when we were driving, I'm like, I am really shocked that there's not more of these cameras out and about. Anyway, so driving around there, okay, middle of the night. I don't want to pull up in front of my house because my neighbors have ring cams. I'm going to pull around where the construction is. There's no cameras there because there's so much construction going on there. It's crazy. Tons of dumpsters. I mean, even now, it's still a lot of construction. So if there is a video, a flashlight video, that hasn't been debunked, it would make sense that, let's say, Chris is going through that construction area, going through the backyards, boom, at the house. They're in the back, that common area you heard Nick Barris talk about, if it was the same video. That would be flashlights, because you don't want attention brought to yourself. They go in. Chris is like, I'm going to take care of it. Bloop, and takes him. Now, a lot of people think, well, he probably drove him to Memphis. He's on the construction site, which would make a lot of sense. But I would not want a deceased individual in my car driving 3 hours, especially when you're probably the adrenaline and you're shaking, you're probably speeding. But if you're not going to dump him out on Long Hollow. I mean, it may be the country, but that's still a very busy road, even at night. You're not going to just stop there. But 2 roads down is Happy Hollow, ironically called. So if you drive through there, you'll go down a half mile, maybe a mile, and then you're going to get to where the houses start to really spread out. And there's a lot of area where there's no cameras. That little pond that I talked about. And the woman that owns the property says, oh, yes, they've been through here. They've checked our pond and they've checked the whatever. And I'm like, people miss a lot of stuff when you look. I mean, there's a lot of times people have recanvassed areas and found things that they didn't find before. Just putting that out there. And it's one of those things that the pond is just far enough. You can drive your car right up to it. Just saying. If you went that way. If you didn't want to go that way, just because body floating, you want to make it look like it was an accident, because they keep saying he walked away. He walked out the front door. He walked away. So with that, that's making me think, okay, if the body is found, you want it to be found close to the house to kind of coincide with that story, right? It'd be like, oh, look, oh, he's found in that hall. I told you he walked away. If you go just past that pond, there is a good little stretch, several hundred feet, maybe a quarter of a mile, that is hollow. Like you could, or hollow for people that aren't from the South, HOLLOW, or as we say, the holler, where I found like a mattress and box spring dumped in. And keep in mind, that time of day, there's not the foliage that there is, because it's winter. Take that body, throw it will just roll down. And probably by now, all covered up with foliage. I'm just saying, if I were to want to get rid of a body, firstly, there's a lot of places to do it in Tennessee. Secondly, that would be where I would do it, because he's got to get rid of that, help her clean up, calm her down to get her shit together. And then he's got to go back home to clock in at 5:15, which I think is an odd time. Maybe he always starts at 5:15. It seems like the construction people here start at 6 or 7. But okay, 5:15. Well, that's pretty much the amount of time it would take. Drive here, clean up, dump a body, get back to work. Oh, everything's all hunky-dory. I've got my alibi. I'm at work. She's got her alibi. She went to bed at midnight. And, that girl didn't sleep that night. Theoretically, if my hypothesis is correct. Yeah. But then you want to make it look like, okay, I'm going to post something online. But then she doesn't post his picture. She says, oh, yeah, everybody knew him. There's a neighbor that Terry Lynn and JLR have talked to. And that interview is very interesting. And I will try to cut it up so you don't have to watch 5 hours of everybody's videos. Not that I might end up turning into one of those talkative people too. I don't know. But chop it up and put it up there, because I found what she said very, very interesting. Let me see if I can pull up my Cliff's notes. I don't know if this pops this stuff up where you see it or not. Oh, yeah. There's audio footage going around too that I can't make out. I'm going to try to clean it up myself and see if I can make any heads or tails about it. Not that I'm a audio whatever, but I'm going to try to see if I can't clean it up and see if I can make heads or tails or find anything. Sometimes you just hear what you want to hear, it's not a spirit box. Supposedly this audio is coming from some neighbor's ring cam. Why are we just hearing about this now is my question. But again, nobody asked me. So you've got all this footage coming. in, and I don't even know how long the audio is, but people are convinced that it's Chris and Katie in the voice. So I haven't really listened to it with headphones, so I'm going to try to do that. If I come up with anything, I'll let you know. And the skirmish video. There was no skirmish. I can't remember who put that up, that theory showing like, see, here's an arm and there's a body and here's somebody kicking them and a hand going. No, that's not what you're seeing. With that, what they've done, they've taken that ring footage from another neighbor. I don't know if it's the same or what, of the Proudfoot's garage. And they've blown it up. And it's so dark. What you're seeing is distortion. You're seeing, well, it looks like things moving around. Yeah, it's distortion. They call it noise when it comes to video. It would be, you know, kind of like static in audio, you know, feedback sort of, you know, it's just things are moving around because it's so pixelated. And again, your mind is taken, your imagination is taken off. You're seeing kind of what you want to see. There was no skirmish there. If there, I 99.9% believe there was no skirmish. If I'm proved wrong, oh, sorry, the ruckus video. No. I watched that video from several different sources. There was no ruckus. You're seeing what you want to see. It's overblown up. And no, that's not what happened at all. So the neighbor video. So her name's Bobby. And she's interviewed, like I said, by a couple of them. And she goes on talking about how, oh, yeah, no, we didn't know. We never saw him. We didn't know his name. They weren't like the most... she makes it sound like their neighborhood was kind of close-knit, but the Proudfoots not so much, you know. And we know by the one neighbor that didn't want, the older guy that was interviewed, didn't want to have him come to any more of the picnics or anything like that. But, man, it was interesting because she goes on talking about how, like, that Thursday, like after Sebastian went missing, her and her kids were driving around the neighborhood, or maybe he's her son and another girl, I think, driving around the neighborhood, and they end up finding, just kind of get an idea, like what's the neighborhood like? Where could somebody have gone? Where Sebastian could have walked off to? And, everybody's kind of pins and needles now because you've got like a potential, kidnapper, baby stealer in your midst. So everyone's not walking their dog as much and they're not out as much. So Chris comes running out into the street, standing and puts his hand up to stop the car. They're freaking out like, what? And he's just like, I see you going up and down this, you know how Chris talks. And, she's like, I live in this neighborhood, whatever. I can be up and down this neighborhood. I live in this neighborhood. And he's like, as he does. And then the girl in the back, I guess, goes to high school at Beach. And she goes, I'm so-and-so. I go to Beach. And, I know your stepson. And he knew her last name. Oh, you're such and such, such and such. And so freaky. Anyway, so she talks about how like that was so massively confrontational, and he like switched off for a minute once he realized who she was, the teenage girl. But finally, the neighbor Bobby was like, "Oh, let's get out of here. Let's hit the road." So I'll cut up that video and make it where it's not so short too. Yeah, I like Clutch Them Pearls. They're pretty good. Yeah, the audio, that's where I was hearing it from. Oh, I don't care what you say. Yeah, I ain't gonna delete anything. Yes, the Fox video. I told Jules with the search dogs about, oh, thank you. Boom, ran. Oh, see, I didn't know I could do that. So thank you. Oh, the mattress, who could tell how old that mattress is? I mean, it's hard to say. Yes. I think it's a good theory. And I think, if I was going to get rid of a body, that's what I would do. And I was hoping, because I called the TBI and, I called and I'm like, you may think I'm crazy. You may make nothing of it. But I told them what I thought. and why I thought it. Because this isn't me just pulling crap out of the air. I mean, if I was a criminal, I drove around that neighborhood going, if I would have done it, how would I have done it? And also, Texas Roadhouse, I drove both ways, pretty much the only two ways from her house to there you would have gone. And again, a lot of traffic, and a lot of neighborhoods. There's not a lot of places to dump a body off in there unless you really go down some side roads. So I don't think it happened after Texas Roadhouse. I think he probably did make it home. Did he take the trash out? I don't know. Again, nobody can say definitively. Do I think that it happened? Because, I mean, she doesn't really talk about anything that happened other than he took the trash out, and then fast forward, he's going to bed. So, and again, I don't know how much information I would give if I was in her place and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I don't know. But just, again, not a lot of places that I would think would make sense to dump a body off from Roadhouse to her house. And just that thump, her bringing up, I heard a thud, and some people said it was a thud, not a thump. It's the same thing. It's called a synonym. All right. Regardless of what the sound was, you brought it up. I mean, that's just interesting. And you've told neighbors one time, you've told an interview a different time. So that's interesting. So to make it look like you're the doting parent, you put something on Facebook like, oh my God, look for my kid. He's missing. He's, gave a little bit of a description of what he likes, but you didn't post a picture or really what the kid looks like. You're telling everybody, oh, this is Elton. Hi, Elton. You're telling everybody, oh, this is, everyone knew him. Neighbors, some of them, you said you wouldn't even know there was a kid there. No bicycle, no basketball net, no anything that would give you the impression that a child lived there. And the neighbors never saw him out, or, Bobby is saying this. I think some other neighbors said that too. So, not a lot of people are talking about it, seeing them as being this amazing family that they're trying to portray themselves to be, and not the lunatics that we know that Chris is. Did I say that out loud? Yeah, I said that. Are you going to sue me, Chris? Because good luck with that. I love that he's coming after people, like threatening them, which I don't think we've heard that much from him here lately. I think he's learned to shut up. And then Seth, I don't think he's had anything to do with it. I think he is so desperate he's willing to turn to anything. And the cease and desists, I think he said there was only 7, I think, that he sent out. And one was Chloe. I'm like, dude, Chloe seems like she was really trying to help. And he's saying, I wanted her to be a detective and she's doing a search and rescue. I'm like, well, I would think I would want a detective to help do search and rescue or recover, whichever the case may be. But yeah, she's not one I would think that you would want to cease and desist. Again, unless there's just stuff that we don't know about. And releasing the phone call about Chris going nuts. You know what? F you, Chris. People should hear how absolutely bat crazy insane you are, because it definitely paints a pretty good picture of your personality and your temperament. Again, motive. Means, well, he did take sleeping pills. We learned that from Seth. Sebastian takes sleeping pills. So there is means. She's frustrated. That could also be. She's alone in the house with him. That could be your opportunity. I mean, she, by her own admission, was the last person to see Sebastian alive. No neighbors saw, but then that's not unusual because, again, neighbors didn't even know hardly that there was a kid there. Rarely saw him. Everyone's just making him sound like he was so helpless. But I talked to a couple of girls that go to school with him. One knew him better than the other. And they were like, he was in a couple of special classes, but otherwise he was in regular classes. I mean, he was a little quirky, but I mean, he was verbal. It wasn't like he was, whatever. I mean, according to Seth, he can play video games, he can dress himself, he can cook. So we're not talking about somebody that is just not capable of sustaining their own life the way so many people and Katie are making it sound like. He wasn't this helpless blob, And I'm sure, God, what he had to have gone through that we know he went through. Can you imagine what we don't know what he went through with somebody like Chris? And there's people that say Katie may have had an alcohol problem. Again, has that been substantiated? I don't know. I would like to know if that is something, could she have, is that why she was falling asleep on the couch? Because she had a couple. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it had nothing to do with it. Maybe she doesn't drink at all. I don't know. But that's just my 2 cents worth. So all this is going on. We're coming up on what? February, March, April, May. June. So gosh, it's almost 4 months now. 4 months that this kid has been missing. Or 3 months. Sorry, I'm a little off on time. But that's almost more suspicious to me that there's no evidence of him. Now, granted, that could be, there's other cases that pop up where, the kid was never seen and we just don't know. But it's just too odd. It's too suspicious to me that nobody saw. You posted the Facebook and then you drove basically to beach and back. Gone 10 minutes, I think you said. Not a lot of time. Even, I would probably fly through the house in a panic if I didn't find my kid. If I looked in all the places he could have hid. Possible. But I don't know. I think you didn't sleep that night because you knew you were going to have to be up. You knew you were going to have to act like you were going through the roles and of what you would normally do, waking him up and getting ready for school. So you had to be prepared to make that call, which is another thing. Your first call is to Chris, allegedly, when you realize he's missing and you can't find him. Yeah, my husband would not be my first call. My first call would be, maybe neighbors. Have you seen? Then it would be cops and his bullshit of like, well, we're in an area that's not quite. Fuck off. Now, they are in an area that's kind of in between Hendersonville and Goodlettsville. That's true. But, yeah, cops are going to be able to find you. It's fine that you're calling from this Long Hollow area. They're going to be fine. And so you circumvent it by calling the sheriff's department. One, why are you calling? You allegedly weren't there. And you're speaking a lot about what had happened when you weren't there. You're talking about what he wore to bed. You weren't there. And she knew all the shoes were accounted for, but wasn't sure which shirt. I don't know. That's kind of suspicious to me. And I think they turned over the clothes that he wore to Texas Roadhouse, I believe so. Yeah, I call 911 first. That should be the first thing. Like I said, maybe neighbors, maybe if he has gone to someone's house before, maybe. But yeah, 911. But now you've called the sheriff's department on three-way, maybe. But, wow, that's probably not going to be recorded. So, that's another odd thing as well. And then, when you call Seth, you're like, I don't want you to worry. Who freaking says that when your kid is missing? Don't worry, but your son's a little missing. What world do you live in? What world do you live in? It's insane. So, all that to say that. So, in my hypothesis, that is what I believed happened. He's at work. 5:15, so that's his alibi. We know Seth's at work. She's going through her daily routine motion and he's missing. And there's very little interview with her speaking. If my kid was missing, you would be sick of my face. You would be sick of my voice. Any outlet I could get to. And the first interview they do is a YouTuber. I mean, that's weird. Why wouldn't you go to the news that's going to broadcast more in that area? That makes no sense at all. But anyway, again, just my 2 cents worth there. So, wow, 45 minutes. I talked a lot longer than I meant to. But yeah, tell me your theories, what you think, because that's just the only thing that makes sense. Could he have walked off? Sure he could have. I mean, would he walk to White House? No, I can't imagine him walking because he liked his old school. He's not gonna, unless he is really more mentally deficient than I realize. Hendersonville, while it is close to White House, I wouldn't hoof it. That is pretty far. I mean, it's a straight down the side road, pretty straight away. But no, I wouldn't hoof it down there. And if he did, people would see him because he'd be on a main road. I mean, Seth said he knew how to get to, or one of them said, I think Chris said, he knows how to get to Seth's house. He knows how to get to the ice cream place. So, yeah, the boy's not an idiot. He may have some developmental things, but he's no idiot. Like I said, he's in regular classes for the most part. What do I think happened? I think I told you exactly what I think happened. Could I be wrong? Sure. He may have walked off. Maybe he just had too much of the fight, walked out into the woods, got hyperthermia, and just somehow searchers missed him. It could happen. It's happened. The tracking dogs running and jumping into that pond, that's a little suspect. That's a little more than a little suspect. And walking out when he's so sensitive to being dirty and he's had the fire ant incident, he's not going to walk out without shoes. If I was freaking out and I had to get out of my house, supposedly shoes are right there by the front door, I would have scooped them up and ran. They say the front door because all the other doors were locked, allegedly, and the front door is the one that does the keypad, so you don't need a key to get in and out of it if you know the code. So, again, scared of the dark too. Why would he go off? And again, some of that footage was stuck on 310 or whatever. But the neighbor says trash trucks come around 5, maybe a little before 5. It's starting to get dawn because they were going at the same time as the school buses, but it kind of caused a little traffic jam. So the trash trucks started coming earlier because the buses come at 7. And then there's lights that they saw that ended up being an Uber driver coming around 5 or so to pick up somebody to take them to the airport. But allegedly, I did it again. I'm going to have to figure out how to do this. I apologize for my lack of technical prowess. Usually I'm better at technology than this. All right. I don't know. There we go. So, anyway, gosh, we all know what it told us. I agree, Ren. Ren, you and I are on the same page, I got to tell you. Spirit Box. Another live of Spirit Box stating that it happened out the back door. Yeah. That's how I would hide somebody. I would go out the back door, front door. They're saying front door as their way out. Like he had to go through the front door because everything else was locked. Knowing full well, if they took a body out, they took it out the back door. Not the side door where the neighbor could see. Back door. Now, it's all a fenced-in area, but I'm assuming there's a gate that they'd be able to get in and out of. Walk through there. Walk through the neighbor's yard. Walk through another neighbor's yard there at the construction site. That's why the dog picked up the scent. Puts the body in the car. He leaves out there so nobody sees him because it's the construction area and it's in the middle of the night. Do I think it happened at 3? Nope. I bet you it happened at midnight. I think they disposed of a body midnight, 1 o'clock. Like I said, enough time to help clean up, calm Katie down so she doesn't freak out, and get their story straight. And when he got to the house, maybe she hung up the phone to make it look like, oh, I went to bed midnight because we ended the call. He told me to go to bed and put the dogs up. So interesting. Interesting. So yeah, the dogs, him saying, oh, trucking dogs, or these dogs are only 25% reliable. On what planet, Chris? On what planet? These dogs are very well trained, very well trained. So I think you're just pulling out facts out of your ass and out of the air of what you want people to believe. You think that if you say it, people will believe it. But I got to tell you, boom, that's what I'm saying. Taurus 58, yes. Because again, Nick Barris, when he talks about those flashlight videos, again, they're, Seth saying the one's debunked, and I did see one that was trash trucks. The one Nick is talking about, I think is flashlights too, because that would be coming from the direction of the construction site. They meet up, because she's not going to carry the body. He could probably deadlift, the weight across where nobody could see. He probably knew there were no cameras right there that would pick him up. Now, this audio that's supposed to be new, I want to know, where is this audio coming from? Which neighbor? Firstly, to know, okay, it's got to be somebody right next door. I can't imagine the one that picked up the flashlights would be able to hear a conversation, or maybe it could. Boom. Maybe. What neighbor is it? Do we know for sure that it is a neighbor's and not just some malarkey? Spirit boxes, I do believe in supernatural. I totally do. Hate me for it or not. Spirit boxes, I don't know if I necessarily put a lot of investment in them. But maybe. I say spirits, if they could figure out how to communicate, sure. I've never been able to make heads or tails out of spirit boxes. This isn't a spirit box. This is actual audio from a Ring camera or some sort of door camera. So I'm just saying, if I was to do it, that's how I would do it. To mention O.J. Simpson quote. But all this to say, I believe that's what happened. And I think that they think they're getting away with it. That's why maybe they're being a little quiet right now. She's got a crack, man. She's got a crack. Yeah. Boom. Exactly. That is what I say, Ren. That's why I think she brought up, his flashlight was missing. That way, if a flashlight was seen on a camera, well, that's it. It was Sebastian. He had his flashlight. I mean, they're not the brightest bulbs in the book, but I don't think they took him to Alaska. I really don't. Taurus 58, did you say pendulum? Because I've done some pendulum work too, and it keeps telling me the same thing every time. I really don't think they took him to Alaska. I mean, too much opportunity to be seen when you're not going to carry a dead body to Alaska, because people are going to see it at some point. Live kid, maybe, but I doubt it. I really doubt it. I think that was just convenient. I think it happened that night. I think Katie was involved. I think Chris helped her cover it up. And that's exactly why they brought up the flashlights, to cover their own asses. Same like what I said of like, well, see that you found him in the woods. See, I told you he walked away. See how close he was to the house? I just think, I know that they found a bone in the St. Jude construction area, allegedly, yesterday or something like that. I mean, maybe it is from a murder, but I also think, it was a burial spot at one time. I don't think it's a big shock to find a bone there. Kind of like a whole poltergeist situation, buying real estate there. Okay. Boop. Let me see. All right. Let's see. Free to be me. I don't think CP is so faithful to KP. I agree. I mean, she's his fifth wife. Bingo. I think they are arrested. He'll absolutely roll on her. You know he will. You know he will cop a plea deal like that. That boy will hide his own skin. He will do everything to save his own skin. And it's funny because, you know, his stepbrother, I heard he was near a burned building. I don't know anything about a burned building around that area, but I could be wrong. Uh, Now, lots of buildings. I went down a lot of roads that ended, uh, and I didn't see any burned buildings when I was looking. But, gosh, I I don't think he's more than 5 miles either. Where I tell you is probably a mile, mile and a half. If you go the route I said, mile and a half, 2 miles at the most. Not far at all. Not far at all. The audio is from the same ruckus video. There are 3 short ones altogether. Someone sent MMO. That's where I heard the MMO tarot. The way to pull the audio from the ring cam. Da, da, da. Yeah. I downloaded and I've converted the audio, and I'm going to try to see if I can clean it up to hear it, but I don't know if I'll do any better. But man, yeah. Again, if you're married and divorced once, okay, maybe it's the other person's problem. If you've been married 5 times, maybe you're the problem. Yeah. I think he will roll over her so quick. But that's why you see him taking charge and he's doing all the talking. He seems like he's that controlling person. It has to be like, you know, you're the weak woman. Let me take over. I'm the man. He absolutely seems like that kind of guy. But if they find a lick of anything, if they end up finding Sebastian's body, which I hope he's alive. I really, really hope he's alive. I hope I am wrong. I will be so happy to be wrong. But if they do find him and they can link either of those two to it, I guarantee you Chris will be the first person to cop a plea deal, and he will throw her under the bus. I know technically with them being married, neither one of them have to testify against each other. But I think if the thought of jail is strong enough, he'll roll. Oh, he will roll. Hi, Smarty Hardy. Sweet. We're talking conspiracy over here. 3 short. I really want to listen to that more. Is there a Highway 41 near them? Yeah. Well, yeah, there's like a number of 41s. 41, we call that Springfield Highway, if it's the 41 you're talking about. And that's not real close. I mean, you can get there. It's Sumner County and Rutherford County. But 31, and I forget what Long Hollow is. See, we around here, we don't usually go by numbers unless it's 31W, but we still call that Old Level, or Old Level Highway. Anyway, it's been so long since I've lived there, what we call, but we don't really call them roads or anything. We just, numbers, like I said, 31, we might call it, but I don't think anybody calls it 41 really, Springfield Highway. In Springfield, that turns into Dickerson Road if you go toward town. Same road. Long Hollow, if you take it, it will take you all the way to Gallatin. And if you go the other way, it'll take you right into Goodlettsville. So it's kind of the connector between, or one of the connectors between Goodlettsville, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. So that's how that goes. I do. I totally believe he went out the back door. Well, I think he involuntarily went out the back door. I don't think he went on his own steam out the back door. I believe he was carried out the back door. Oh, sorry, everything was going off. But that's just my 2 cents. But gosh, yes, if you have any other, I want to know. Like, I want to chop up that interview with Bobby so you're not having to listen to 3 hours, and do some more listening to that audio just to see if there's anything to it. Because like I said, so much of that's subjective. I mean, I may be wrong about that, ruckus, but I don't think I am. I think you're seeing what you want to see. And because if I was taking a body out, I wouldn't be taking it out through the garage. So how the house is, you've got the front door where the driveway is, there's the garage and the garage doors. And then there's a back door where you're going out that sunroom. So I wouldn't take a body out the front door. I wouldn't take it out that side door. But if you go out through the back door, you're going out where it's very dark. Again, there's no lights on there. And if you cut through, like I said, that yard and that other yard, boom, you're at the construction site where, and you know, how smart would that have been if he took like one of Sebastian's, you know, clothes or whatever and drug it along the ground and put it in the water? I think that Chris is sneaky enough to think of something like that to do it. Hypothetically. Oh yeah. Where's Mansker Creek. It is okay. So where Happy Hollow is, if you take it up, you're going to go down. Oh, what's the name of that road? I'll think of it later. But you're going to run into Mansker Station, and that's Mansker Creek. So it's, I mean, I kind of looked over in that area too. It just seems like the houses are a lot closer together there. So I don't think it's ideal for dumping a body. And where some of those creeks are, you can see where people have been, you know, mowing. So if there would have been something in the creek, they would have found it. Now there's been some heavy rain the last month or so things could get a little bit more washed down. But you know, it's possible that he could be along Mansker Creek, but the Happy Hollow is closer. So Mansker would be like so we got Kelly Lynn, then there's Honeysuckle, Happy Hollow. Now Happy Hollow, if you go the other way, kind of almost across Long Hollow, that's going to take you, what's that called? Center Point Road. So that's one of the ways you can go to get to where like the Texas Roadhouse and all that is. So Mansker is going to be I think like the next street over, and you're going to go down the road quite a bit to get it. I mean, not quite a bit, but a little bit. That's right. It's CP's world. He makes all the sense in the world. Well, you know, I know that there's been people talking about Rock Castle and people talking about the park. I just think that's risky because you're going more into where people are to get to it, if that makes any sense. If I was going to dump a body, that would be more out of my way. Where Happy Hollow, cover of darkness, you know nobody's coming down that road. You've got time to whip around, no houses, no cameras, bloop, 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 bloop. With Rock Castle, it's possible, but I don't think it's probable. I think Happy Hollow is much more probable, but that's me. Okay. So you listened to the audio. Did you hear anything? Like, what all did you hear? Did you make sense of any of it? And the guys was it. All right. So, Jacqueline, what did you think of that audio? Like, did you make heads or tails? Could you make anything out about it? Because I'm curious. Like, I heard people, like some people hear things, and again, I didn't hear it with buds. So maybe if I try putting on some headphones, I can make heads or tails of it. But no, I want to clean it up a little bit to see if I can hear some of it. All right, cool. Well, I've already talked over an hour, and I didn't even think I would talk that long. But you know, thank you for listening. Oh, 30 people shut up. Oh, this is a new channel. I just started it like a month or so ago. And just because I love true crime and the paranormal, probably, you know, more than a normal person, which is why we're friends, because, you know, yes. Okay. With Judy here on it. All right. I'll check out that Spirit Box Sessions. Cause I don't believe in them. I do. I know I'm such a hypocrite. I like, Spirit Box, but I will still listen just to see, because maybe Maybe. Thank you, Tina girl. 87. Yeah. This is just stuff that I'm interested in. And because I mean, not to knock any other creators. I mean, everybody's got their own style and stuff. But man, these people that stay on for 4 and 5 hours, I can't imagine. And I'm a talkative person. I can't even imagine talking that long. But maybe when I get more stuff involved, more people, vocal areas. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was listening to Clutch Them Pearls one to see. Yeah, oh my God. Tina, the drama. Oh my God. Part of me, that's just what turned me off on some of them. Like when I first started listening, because again, I just fell down that rabbit hole of Sebastian. And some of them I liked at first. And then, you hear just cattiness. And I'd rather just have unbiased, even though I know I'm very biased. And I said how I think it happened. But I'm not a team this or a team that. I'm team truth. I'm team fun and Sebastian. Hopefully live, that percentage is looking kind of low. I hate to say it. And I know it's killing Seth. And, going back to Seth, I mean, gosh, people have been just ripping him a new one. And, brought on that dude. And I get it. Maybe you're overwhelmed and you want to have someone to be the face instead of you. I can't imagine that, but I'm a talkative person, so I don't know. But I just really don't know much about that dude's background. I mean, hold on, I found somebody showed me his page on Facebook, Game Time Sports. I don't know if it'll pop up. I have the slowest computer in the world. Well, anyway, you know who the guy I'm talking about. But I mean, he worked in construction himself, didn't he? I mean, he was like a what do you call it, a crane operator, crane something, logistics maybe. But I'm like, what does he have to do with PR? Well, like, what PR experience does he have? Because he did that other case and doing Tony. Yeah, he did that the other case, and then this one. I'm like, I can't imagine what PR experience he may have had. Maybe he's trying to shift into a new chapter of his life. I don't know. But he doesn't seem like he's done any PR that I've ever gone. Truth Warriors. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he meant well, but then you got some people that are like, oh, he was just a shyster after money. I don't know. I think that there are people that have donated time, like Jules and the dogs. Again, he's okay. Going back to Chris, he says, "Well, I don't give them permission to search mine or my family's property." At first when this started, I thought, when I just look at aerials of Chris's mom's house, and there's all this woods, and then there's a pond out. Now it was hard for me to drive to it. I tried to drive to it. And I just gave up after a while because I couldn't pull the thing up on my phone. But that was my first instinct. Is like, I bet the body's over there. But as it goes on, I'm thinking that's not practical. I don't know that I would. Because if his body is found near his mom's, that just implicates him more. Not that it won't be, because I don't trust them either. And, speaking of that, I started to bring that up earlier. So, Terry Bowersox Jr., which would be Chris's stepbrother, has nothing good to say about Chris. He says that, like, oh yeah, he's I think his exact words was douchebag or something to that effect, and that he wouldn't doubt if he was involved in it. I had nothing to do. He's like washed his hands of his father and his entire family. He lives up in Kentucky now. So he had nothing good to say. And then there's this guy that comes up that's alleging to be Chris's cousin. I don't know if it is or not. But if it's not, he sure is parroting what the stepbrother said. So it's believable. But if it's not, it's not. Spirit guide says, yay! I keep getting 41. Okay. 41. Like I said, there's a number of 41s, and some of them branch off. So I'll have to look up and see what I see as 41. Yeah, crane salesman. Boom. Yes, I thought about that too. Like, how interesting that they're both in cranes. I mean, that's a very odd coincidence, if it is one. Terry Lynn, I like her a lot. I just don't know that she's searching in the right area, gut wise. I know where she's searching. At least I think I've got an idea of where she's searching now, because there is a big creek. And when they talk about that little general store, uh, there's a big creek behind it. And I went down in there and looked as well. It's pretty wide. It's not real deep. It's pretty wide. But when there's a good range, you can see that like it gets up high. But I can't imagine he wouldn't have been found in there already. You know what I mean? That I think is where Terry Lynn found the pants. It's either that or it's over by the park, is what it looks like to me, just looking at it. But it seems like there's been a lot of people looking behind there and behind it. And again, I just, it's too tempting to think that that's an obvious place, because you're going to have to drag him down a little bit. And, he could get hooked underneath some things, because you can see that there's like a car that's been dumped there or fallen in there or something. Like, it's all rusted out and stuff. I mean, it's not that it's not possible, but it's, again, if you're doing that, you're on Long Hollow, or like the other street that crosses it. So again, just more opportunity to be caught or seen by someone else. But that's me. 16 hours. I know. The camper thing. Yeah, I thought there's so much he does that's just suspicious. But again, I wouldn't want to have a body in my truck or in my camper if I could help it. Just if they do any kind of forensics. And maybe they have and they just haven't talked about it. Maybe I've just watched too many TV shows. But did they luminol Sebastian's bedroom at all? That seems like that would be the first thing I would do. If you've got a kid that's missing, luminol. Hi, Janet. I would luminol that entire place just to see if any blood comes up. And maybe they did. And they're just not telling us. Because, we're just the public. So, I don't know. But like when I called and left the message with TBI, I told them, this is just my theory. And she's like, thanks, I'll pass it on. I go, do you need my name or phone number? She's like, no. I'm like, oh, well, they're not going to do anything with that. So I was really hoping to talk to Jules. So I'm so glad that y'all got my hunch over to her. So maybe she could do something about it. Again, just that. That just makes the most sense. It's close. It's less than 2 miles from their house. Easy dump. But could also be said that, oh, he walked off. He was so close. There he was the whole time. Where, I don't know, maybe in that creek that's behind that general store, but I don't know. I don't think Lala's done a crime. All right, boom. Hold on. Oh, shit. Hold on. Oh, right. I don't think luminol was done according to CP. He said in some interview he asked for fingerprints, and Ellie said no. He asked for fingerprints. Please. Why not ask for fingerprints? He knows then none's going to show up. Luminol. I wish that. And then there's another that they call that they could have done it. Yeah, they sure do have those military bags and that military experience. Just saying. On MMA's videos, look for it in here. Oh, okay, cool. All right, sweet. So I guess I'm flustered enough. So, well, thank you guys so much for listening to me blather on extensively on my theories on what is going on. Yeah, I like Jules a lot. Oh, is she on YouTube? Because I thought she wasn't. I found her on Twitter, I think it was. All right, cool. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, and I'm going to try to do this more regularly. This is the first time I'm doing this. So I don't really know what I'm doing. So I'll try to get a little bit more versed at this. But I think you're. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna clip up. Oh, thank you for thanking me. All right, I know, right? Okay, I think you were right, Christy. They asked neighbors to look under things because maybe, yeah, yeah. I mean, if he did walk out and he was hiding, look underneath things. I mean, I know when I rolled up on that woman's property, I know they say ask permission. I'd rather ask forgiveness. But when I rolled up and was checking it out, and she came, I mean, she was just kind of like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Oh, I was walking my dog." And I'm a terrible liar. So I went ahead and spilled my thoughts. And she said that, they'd searched that area multiple times, allegedly. And I'm like, "Well, do you mind if we look?" And she goes, "In the pond? How are you going to look?" I go, "With a stick? How do you look for a body?" I didn't say that, but in my mind, I'm like, "How do you look for a body?" "With a stick, of course." And she's like, "Okay, yeah, I guess." And I'm like, "All right, I take that as being like forever." So she said it once, so forever I will be able to look on her property in my mind. So if she sees me again, I'm like, "You told me it was okay." Definitely need earbuds. All right. Oh, call. I called the TBI. Did you call or go call? I don't know if I'm understanding you there. All right. Heard go to the car. Okay, cool. You heard go to the car. Did you call? Oh, interesting. That's nice. All right, I'm gonna have to look that up. Thank you, Jacqueline. Yeah, the earbuds. I'm cracking them out now. I'm gonna really listen to it. Yeah, I agree. I think they definitely. Oh, my dog is a little. Stop it. I think he did. They definitely wanted to make it look like it's an accident. Yeah, and maybe it was an accident, and they screwed the pooch by trying to hide a body. Theoretically, again, hypothetically, but if they find him and he does have an injury and he's in that holler, they could be like, "Oh, well, he injured himself there." Hopefully, and again, getting a mattress in the garage. People say that might have been punishment or so. So, very interesting indeed. Well, thank you guys again. I know I tried to end this forever ago, and I just get so chatty, Kathy. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that y'all think like me as well, and I like to hear other people's opinions too. So, people all over. Yeah, you're right. People all over. Just me. I mean, like some of these people are just turning it into like a Jerry Springer situation. It's crazy. I mean, you're gone from being like detective to just gossip. And not that I'm opposed to some gossip, but I mean, like, theories are one thing, but just theories have, reasoning behind them. Some of these people are, "I think this, da, da, da," and just going on. And these people that regurgitate other people's material, there's this one dude where it's just his little picture in the corner, and he might have like three different things that they got from somebody else and they got from somebody else. And I'm like, that's just a lot going on. And you're just being lazy. You're not doing any work. You're just putting up somebody else's work, and that's fine. That's not for everybody. Like I said, there's some people I like out there, like Clutch Them Pearls. I dig him. And Terry Lynn, I dig her. So I feel like those are two that are actually in it. For the right reason. I will definitely figure out, I got all dark on you. Figure out how to make that stay where it's supposed to be. Boop. So yeah, I'll figure out how to use my camera too. Okay. But thank you so much for listening, and I will try to do this on a more regular basis. Is there a time that works better for y'all if I were to do a live thing? Like, I don't want to like do it when somebody else that's real popular is doing it, or is doing it earlier or doing it later better. Like, do you have an opinion? Because I would like to definitely have, I think I had like 30 something. That's way more than I thought. I thought I was going to have two people watching. So I'm so thinking, oh yeah. Oh, don't you worry, Just Ass. I'm going to do me. That's not even a question. But yes, I will be a little possibly outspoken. But that's just how I am. That's how I roll, G. So yeah, if you want to send me any messages, like I said, info at punkrocksherlock.com. I'll try to read my emails more than I have been, so sorry about that. And you know, also if you can comment in here, that's great too. It's a oh, two. All right. Say thank you, Smarty Hardy. All right. Where are you from, Smarty Hardy? That it's 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm so curious. I love that. Are you in the UK? As I wait with bated breath to find out. Oh, you want to go live, post it in your community to let people know. Oh, thank you. Okay, UK. Yay! Awesome, awesome. Sweet. Well, go to bed. And I will get on this. And thank you guys. Oh, you're in Austin? Great, Ren. All right, so sweet. So put, if when I end this stream, if you want to put in comments like what time you would prefer to have it, or what time it is right now where you're at. Also, so I don't do it too late. I don't want to keep you up unless you're, an insomniac like me. Oh, thank you, Ran. You're my boo right there, Ran. You are my boo. Seriously, you and I are on the same wavelength, and I dig it. So, all right, cool. I'm serious this time. I'm gonna go. You go to bed, eat dinner, go to sleep, and I will see you again real soon. And maybe with makeup, because this is just kind of I'm haggard today. So this was a test run, and I think it was successful. I'll learn how to do this stuff a little bit better. But thank you so much, and go back and see me.